Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to Planet Marzipan, the Fish and Marillion podcast. I'm Meza, and here's my mate.
Craig Houston.
Hello, and welcome to Planet Marzipan. I'm Meza. I'm here with my good friend.
Craig, who is cat wrangling at the minute still.
Yeah, he's looking like a Bond villain again, folks. He's got his cat on his lap, but he's just stroking him. We are here with some guests. We've got returning guests in the form of James Levey.
Good evening.
Hi, James. Mikey Kay.
Good evening, boys.
Hi, Mikey. And Darren Newitt joins us again.
Good afternoon or good evening again.
Good afternoon,
Good morning.
evening, good morning, whatever time they're listening to the podcast. Now, we might or might not be joined by other people, but if we are, we're just going to roll with it. And right on cue, right on that cue on screen, it says Fraser. Yes.
Good evening.
Evening, Fraser. You okay?
Evening.
As you can tell from the title of this episode, we're having another look back at a residential Marillion weekend, and we are going for the 2003 weekend, which was at Butlins in Minehead in Somerset in England. The second residential Marillion weekend, and
Which was a bit of a step up, wasn't it?
yeah, well, the first one that the band organised themselves, and I think due to the feedback about the accommodation at Pontins, we upgraded to Butlins. I'm doing the inverted commas sign, folks. You can't see that, but we upgraded. It was an upgrade, wasn't it?
Oh, it was definitely an upgrade. Yeah. I mean, it was a bit odd because this time round we shared the camp with another bunch of folks because I think we had Pontins exclusively to ourselves.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And this time round we were sharing, so
Yeah.
there was lots of people going. Who are they?
It was a line dancing convention or something, wasn't it?
I believe so for the first one, wasn't it? So that sounds right. Fraser, does that sound right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit odd. They all had sort of pink Stetsons and things like that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Or was that
Really
the
missed
other?
I think
the
they
merch
thought we
trick,
were a
didn't
bit
they?
rough.
Do you know if they'd have whacked Marillion on a pink Stetson, we'd have bought it?
We would have.
I speak for myself there, I think.
That's it. That's an idea for the next convention, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
Mark Kennedy.
go on camp.
Surely H would have worn it on stage.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any memories about the site?
There was the dome in the center. Didn't that have like a big like bungee swing thing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was kind of an outdoory thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, which I quite thought that after a few sherbets somebody could do some epic projectile vomiting from there.
Well, interestingly, I used to work for an interior design company that did the master plan for the Butlins, and they came up with this concept of the Sky Dome to unite all these fragmented buildings which are leftovers from military accommodation in the sort of 40s and 50s. And that was one of the concepts that was introduced to create this kind of flexible interior space which mingled the bars and the cafes and the restaurants and the event halls. And but that itself was a big upgrade from the Pontins one, because if you remember, we were all queuing around the bin stores to get into the venue before in 2002. Whereas this one, we were all undercover and there was stuff.
I seem to recall that the Butlins was more widespread, wasn't it? It was a bigger site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had to cover quite a bit of ground because I believe the web ran according to the Wayback Machine, they ran 2 quizzes that weekend. I'm not sure about that, but
I remember 2.
But that was at the Highwayman pub, which was at one end of the park, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right out on the far end.
In the cheap seats.
and then there was the main. I don't know what the main arena was called actually, if it has a name. But that was on 2 layers. So downstairs was the other line dancers that we talked about, and upstairs in the main, I presume it was called the ballroom, but you never know, was Marillion and all the assorted support acts. Fraser, last week we talked about the cost, didn't we? I think there was a slight increase on this one, because according to my information, it was £130 per adult for self-catering and £160 if you went half board.
That sounds about right. My connection seems to be a bit slow, and it's not whizzing through to the page. Hang on, it's doing it now. But yeah, it definitely was a little bit more.
Yeah,
But fair enough. It was a lot better.
absolutely.
Do you want to speak about the fun and games at the warm up just before we delve into deeper?
Oh,
topics
yes.
like that?
Good point, James. Good point. So the warm-up was at the Roadmenders in Northampton, wasn't it?
It was indeed the well-packed road menders.
Yes. Oversold, possibly?
I think, wasn't it they, and Fraser, you might know this one, didn't they sort of say, yes, we can fit this many people in, and Lucy went, that's fine. And yeah, it was a bit, I guess it gave me a bit of an idea of potentially what the old marquee could have been like when I was too young to know, because we were packed like sardines in.
I was in there as well, and I didn't think it was that bad. I don't recall it being horrifically bad. It wasn't until the gig was over that we came outside to find out that some people hadn't been able to get in.
Yeah, Barnes was outside of the bar. I think
Well,
it's
there's
also
a shocker.
It was also around how the venue was built as well, because there was like a staircase towards the back, which sort of blocked it halfway. Because I've been to the Roadmender a few times, and it was sort of got narrower towards the stage, if I remember. But yes, I remember people trying to get in. I was towards the back, and it was quite packed. And it was an abbreviated set. I think the band played quite a few slower numbers in the encore after debuting the whole of Afraid of Sunlight.
Well, I mean, the set list was AOS in the main set, and then the encore was A Few Words for the Dead, Berlin, When I Meet God, and Estonia. So some of the popular music stuff in there, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was short and sharp.
And that was on the 12th of March. So that would have been the Wednesday. And then on the Friday, the weekend started in Butlins.
Yeah, we didn't do the warm-up gig, did we, Mikey? We travelled down.
No, we didn't.
And stayed over. Actually, we travelled down the day before, and we stayed over at a travel lodge south of Birmingham, near that big
Bristol, wasn't it?
Bristol. Yes, no, you're right. It's near Bristol. Because we actually met up with Stu then, didn't we? One of our friends from school, and who I cheat on John with doing the Star Trek podcast.
It's fine by me. Absolutely fine by me. You and your kinky podcasts, you can get crack on with that.
We got rather pissed that night, and I think we were hanging for most of the Friday.
Yes, it was an evening, shall we say?
It was.
Well, although I did Northampton, I drove down and I drove straight back after the gig, so I didn't stay down there for that. But
saved yourself a headache.
Yes, definitely. But the weekend was another one of the sort of compact weekends. We didn't get on site, I think, till 4 o'clock on the Friday. That was first check-ins at 4. And Gazpacho were due on stage at 7, so there wasn't a lot of time to turn things around. Not like the leisurely thing it is now. It's all a bit, come on, keep moving.
Yeah, you just imagine the Benny Hill music going on behind you, trying to speed around to different places. But it was funny when with this trip, because Rob, who Mikey was with at the time, hadn't he worked at that Butlins before years ago?
He did, yes. He actually, as soon as we got in and unpacked, he dragged me to the back of the park where the old chalets were, where they like the staff were. But when we got to the back of that area, all the old chalets had been completely flattened. So he was his dreams of revisiting the chalet that he used to reside in while he was working at that Butlins was shattered. So that put a bit of a dampener on it. But I think, if I remember rightly, I think we missed Gazpacho. I certainly remember coming in as they were finishing before White Buffalo came on. I'm sure you guys made Gazpacho, but I know for a fact I didn't.
I think I made him. Did you?
Yeah, I
Greg?
did.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
good. They were good.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I think I'm trying to think where they would have been discography wise. I think they may only have had the first album out at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at the set list, it is mainly the first album.
It definitely predates Night, doesn't it?
It's The Secret, Sea of Tranquility, California, Nemo, Ghost, Mesmer, Erase Your Mind, and finishing with Bravo.
Very good.
Decent set list.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that. And of course, his voice was slightly better this year.
Yeah, he'd not had a chance to do any damage like he had the year before.
You know what though? You talked about his voice at the because you covered that in the last podcast about him. He had to have help, I believe, because of the first swap band. He lost his voice, but actually, it was fantastic. His opening notes when he did that swap the band thing were just mesmerizing. Held the audience. I think there was a lot of anticipation for Gazpacho on this as well because they'd really got a name for him through the Marillion circles around then as well, and I think a lot of people packed that hall out to catch them.
Yeah.
Sea of Tranquility and Ghost are on disc 3 of Wish You Were Here.
There we go. So the other support that night was White Buffalo again, back for a second time. I think we gushed about them last week, didn't we? But
We did indeed.
more of the same, I think. There's no set list on Setlist FM for them, which is a bit strange.
Yeah, I was going to say I can't particularly distinguish them from the other one, as in, it's a support at a weekend. They were just consistently good around that time. So I can't imagine that they did a poor performance or anything. But the set lists were reasonably similar for quite a long period of time, I would say. So there's probably a good crossover with what they played the previous time.
I think I mentioned it last week because there's 2 tracks from them on disc 3 of Wish You Were Here. But the track from 2003 is Time Bomb George, which is the complete antithesis of Wasted, which is from 2002. It's a real sort of raucous power trio thing, isn't it? But yeah, we did talk about them a lot last week.
Because we love them. There you go.
And we miss them.
We love them.
Yeah, definitely. And then we got the main event. So Marillion, as we've talked about quite a bit, but this was the night that they recorded, or they had their first world record attempt at the fastest DVD to retail, which was before First Light. So the first set was the whole of Afraid of Sunlight, as it had been advertised to sell the tickets for the weekend. And despite Lucy's complaint about the girls at the beginning of the DVD, Craig, you like that, don't you?
Very much so.
It's a much bigger stage, this one, isn't it?
It's longer.
Last week.
It's a little. I don't think it's massively deeper, but it's a longer stage.
Wasn't massively deep, no.
And then it's got the Barry the logo, the Barry logo projected onto either side of the stage as well, hasn't it?
The main head Barry, isn't it?
The Minehead, yeah.
Yeah.
Very clever play on words.
If I recall correctly, the layout of the venue meant that the stage was actually along the long side of the venue. Is that right?
Yes, it was.
Rather than the short side.
Yeah.
And then round the back there was a lot of seating area, which I think was separated off with barriers and stuff.
It was a raised area.
Yes.
Yeah, there was
which was raised. Which
was it set up with like tables and chairs?
It was.
Yes.
I think it was. Yeah.
It's designed as a ballroom,
wasn't it?
So the bit that we were stood on was the main floor, which was the dancing area.
It was a sprung dance floor, wasn't it? Which came into which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yes, more for the following time, but yes, it was a sprung dance floor. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Dobby were hauled up. We actually sat on the carpeted floor at the back on the Saturday night gig towards the end, which I think we were just completely white at that point, but it was comfortable.
Yeah. At the end of AOS, they gave a live debut to Faith.
Yeah, that's a
Which-
very interesting version because that got released on a Christmas CD as well, didn't it?
Mm.
And
It was a B-side of You're Gone.
was it?
Yeah.
But the interesting
Yeah,
thing about this version is it's got a kind of slidey fade guitar at the introduction, and then it hasn't got that kind of deep drummy section in the middle, which ended up on the final version on is it Happiness is the Road.
On
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
I
It's-
far
it's-
prefer this version, to be fair. I
Yeah,
don't
I
like
like
the
this
version
version.
that's on on the album, but it just seems to work better. I think the concept of the song itself fits musically better as that B-side track, unfortunately. I think it was overcooked by the time it got onto an album.
Yeah,
It's the Marbles version, effectively,
Yeah.
of
yeah.
Faith. Yeah, and it's a more full band version
I like this version.
with Somewhere Else, the more sort of Beatley ending.
It's interesting that it was
And
Pete playing guitar and H came on with the bass.
yes, well, Pete wrote that acoustic framework of the song was Pete's idea. I may have mentioned this. Track 1 on the first mini disc of The Writing of Marbles is Pete playing that sort of strummed version, and then they did the picked version, or they came up with a picked idea later on in the sessions. But
Wow.
that's why he's on the acoustic guitar.
It was great that they put they put a new song on the DVD, wasn't it? Really,
Mm.
and I think it's probably of the 5 they played that night, the one they were most confident about being on top of from a sort of performance point of view.
Yeah, it was probably the most complete at that stage.
Yeah, yeah. And then,
And I suppose I had to draw a line in the sand as well before they whipped everything away to get to the DVD factoring place
Yeah.
as well, I suppose.
but that line in the sand was the 875th live version of Easter.
Well, to be fair though, I was just thinking this the other day, we didn't actually get Easter on the first convention, which is really strange when you think about
Yeah,
it.
it's amazing. Yeah, they made up for it since.
Oh yeah.
Have they played it since?
Only on days when Rother is there.
But what did you think of the performance of Afraid of Sunlight itself? Because
I think it's amazing, but I've only got one very small gripe about it. That's how Mark Kelly's keyboards are mixed on the DVD. They are really, really low in the mix. It's more noticeable when you're listening to tracks like Cannibal Surf Babe or King, especially Scooby-Doo keyboards in Cannibal Surf Babe. It wasn't until the live CD came out that sound problem seems to be fixed, because his keyboards are right back up there. But on the DVD, they're just so low. And
have you got the Blu-ray? Have you got the breaking the clock's already ticking Blu-ray?
Remix, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Because that's the one I watched, and it's sounded great on that.
Yeah, but the DVD, the original DVD, the mix on I think it's only his top keyboard. His textual stuff sounds amazing, but when he's doing a main key line, it just drops, and it's a shame, because I think the strength of like Cannibal Surf Babe and King rely on those strong keys, and they're just not there. But like I say, they fixed that by, what was it, 2011 when this came out? Quite a while after before that came out.
It was 2013, I think. Yeah.
Is it?
But yeah, I mean, I think the version of Beyond You on this is their best live version of Beyond You. I like the ending of it and everything. Is really cool.
But they seem to be enjoying themselves throughout the whole thing. I know we said last time that during Brave it felt quite intense and there was a lot of concentration on the go. You know, you watch H throughout this whole thing, and he's bouncing around and having a laugh. I think before Beautiful kicks in, he was sat at the front of the stage. He has to quickly run to his microphone to sing his first line. They are tight, but they're having so much fun at the same time. It's a dream to watch. It really is.
I get the impression the warm-up shows were really vital to them, you know, at this time, because they are tight, as you say, Mikey, and you know they played it 2 nights before in Northampton, so it was a good chance to sort of kick out any kinks. I think it's a great version. I mean, it's just come out on vinyl this year, this version, and we might
We'll
well
be
talk
talking
about that
about
next
that next
week. Do you
week.
think? Yeah, do you think,
Yes.
Craig? Yeah.
Now, this is where I go. Remember the wibbly wobbly tamey webby
Yes,
that we're
this
talking
is
about?
this is the
This
peek
it.
behind the curtains, because in next week's episode, I have to say we haven't recorded this week's episode because we hadn't at the point. Anyway, never mind.
But we have now.
But
I think they,
go on, James.
I was going to say, I think they sort of took what happened in 2002 and did a lot more rehearsals prior to the gigs. Because as you say, it's tight. It's a really good version of Afraid of Sunrise as well. It's
Yeah.
probably one of my favourites.
Yes. Yeah, it was really good.
They seem quite relaxed generally. I've watched the we'll talk about them in a minute, but I've watched the Marbles tracks again this afternoon. But even though they're concentrating on them because they're really new, there's still a bit of crowd banter and they're quite relaxed between the tracks. Ian starts playing the We Will Rock You riff and the crowd starts singing it. It's all a bit, you know, it's not as tense as maybe the year before. Doesn't seem it.
Mind you, there were quite a few fun interventions with some of the supports. Where you got John Otway, that was this year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Cry No More. Yeah, there was some fun stuff going on between some of those sets. It's very light-hearted, even in some of the sound checks which I was in.
Well, Cry No More was the year before, Darren.
Oh, was
We
it?
discussed that. We talked
Oh,
about
yes,
that
yes.
last week, yeah.
Timey-wimey.
Yeah, indeed.
It all
Indeed. It's
merges
hard
into
to
one.
think back this far, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder what sort of difference it made with the fact that, as we discussed the other week, that with the Pontins one, they'd all stayed off site and everything. And clearly they got the vibe and sort of come on site for this one
Yeah.
and everything. And I wonder whether that had contributed to them feeling a lot more relaxed, knowing that, you know, they were just going to be treated with respect and everything. And it must have just taken that element of, oh, is this are we putting ourselves in a sort of precarious situation? They knew they weren't by the time of the second one, so that must have helped.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah,
Great point.
I think as well, because you said at the beginning of this that it was under their control, and they knew it, you know, the 2002 was a bit of a gamble, and they know from now to 2003 going onwards is like, we know this is going to be well received. The fans are going to love it. We're not having that. What's going to happen?
Yeah, definitely. The second half of the set list, once they played Easter and then told us that they'd finished recording for the DVD and that was all going to be shipped off to, was it Wales where they went to?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was, and I think, was it Swansea, the where it eventually went on sale?
Yeah, because it had
It
to
might
be, had to sell a copy in a shop somewhere.
Had to
didn't
be
it?
a retail shop.
Yeah.
My memory's slightly different. I thought that the retail version of this went on sale at Record House in Aylesbury. I thought they'd had a deal with the local.
One of them it did. Yeah, you might be right. It might have been this one.
I'm pretty sure it was this one and not the 5-disc edition, which was got the name of it, but clock's already ticking or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
You could be right.
Happy to be corrected on either of those points, but then we got 4 new tracks from, obviously, as then unrecorded Marbles.
Which is
You got
something
Angela.
unprecedented. It's really for
Yeah, it was really mad, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a long time since they've done something like that with so many new songs.
I don't think they've ever done that, have they? Apart from Misplaced, maybe.
Well, didn't they do
Certainly
something
not
like
at the
that?
age
Holidays?
here, I don't know.
Holidays in Eden, they played
Yeah.
a lot of it
Oh, yes.
prior to
true.
recording
Oh,
it.
yeah.
But they've not done it since.
I
I think this is the last time.
I think they played "See It Like a Baby" and
They
"Most
played-
Boys" at the Cocoa Club before it came out.
But it was recorded by then.
I was going to
It
say
was all
recorded.
recorded and mixed. Where this one, they were still writing it.
Yeah.
So we got Angelina, Neverland, which was introduced as Huge Neverland, I think.
Yes.
Which is a bit weird. I mean, they're still working it out. So Rothers, as I think Craig and I had this conversation the other day, Rothers is still working the guitar solos out at the end of Neverland
He's doing a lot of like free flow guitar playing throughout the song. There's a lot of
They'd
like,
never
different
really,
licks and
yeah,
things to it. Yeah.
they'd not really got the final version or the final shape of it together by that point. To give you a little bit of background, Dave Meegan, I think about beginning or middle of January, he'd given the band 2 CDs with all the ideas, and they said, pick which ones you're going to play at the convention from that. And the reason it was called Huge Neverland is at the time the working title was The Huge Idea, which was based on Mark's chords, which were huge.
Yeah.
And that's why H went, oh, this is Huge Neverland, whatever it is.
But he'd already got that, I'll call it artificial echo, but because the Wendy bit, he was doing his echo himself. He'd already established that, hadn't he, at that point?
That was in the jam. That was from
Okay.
the first time he played it, he did it. That's on the Making of Marbles, in fact.
I knew that, James. I listen to it all the time.
Oh, there you go.
This
So
live
shameless
version
plug.
was my go-to version for a long time, even after Marbles come out, because it sort of lost some of the edge, I think, on the Marbles polished version. A lot more gutsy guitar solos in this, because they released it on a Christmas CD, if I
They
recall,
did, yeah.
and it's a really good version, really good.
The
I
version on the
jump back-
Christmas CD. Sorry, go on, Fraser.
No. Carry on.
I was just going to say the version on that Christmas CD, which I think is Say Cheese, if my memory serves me
think
correct,
so, yeah.
which is out in December, is actually a mix of the Friday and the Sunday versions.
Oh, right.
Oh, okay, yeah. Very good.
There you go. I was just going to jump back very briefly to Angelina, because I just remember it was quite atypical anyway, because it had that very bluesy feel to it and it's all the rest of it. The thing I really remember latching onto, and I remember looking at my mate Matt and him raising his eyebrows at the same time, was that there was a real sense of say hello, wave goodbye, the soft
Yes.
song about it.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, on his vocal melody,
Yes, on the vocal melody,
Yeah.
it was really, really apparent.
which I think they
That
played down,
ultimately
didn't they, for the recorded
disappeared.
version? Yeah.
Yes, it's completely gone. Although I think actually when he did it with, you'll forgive me for not knowing which of the Beggs sisters it was. He did the version with this year. But I think it was sort of back a bit actually. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah, you might be right, Fraser. Yeah. Yeah. Good spot. Really good spot. Yeah, I was watching it this afternoon and it gets me every time I watch this version, I can't get that melody out of my head.
mm,
And then we got Don't Hurt Yourself with Rothers on bass and Pete on acoustic, and that's a great version of that. They should bring that back more.
Didn't they call it Don't Hurt Yourself Anymore? Because I think that was the
Possibly.
working title. Yeah.
And then it says in here that it was introduced as Pacific Row, but I'm not sure it was. Ocean
Yeah, it
Clouds
was.
is
no, it was.
yeah.
Yeah, it was Pacific War was its title for a long time before the album.
Yeah.
Did he do the intro about Tony Bullimore as well?
It's not on the DVD.
No.
I think he did. I think there's a little bit of editing. I think he did
Right.
on the. I think I've heard the desk tape, and I
Yeah.
think he did. Yeah, they had to manufacture the ending of that one. They didn't really have an ending, so they wrote one specifically for the gig.
Wow.
And then the encore was Garden Party.
Was that not planned? Because it's on the DVD. It comes across as we are just going to fudge our way through this.
I don't know. I think they were that relieved to get the 4 or the 5 new tracks out of the way that it's just such a relief that they just clatter through Garden Party as normal, you know.
It's funny though that this evening's gig is, apart from like being on the stuff being available on the space now, it was actually spread over 3 different releases, because Brave Live, keep saying Brave Live, Afraid of Sunlight Live is before First Light.
Yeah.
The tracks from Marbles were actually on disc 2 of Marbles on the Road.
Yeah.
And then the Garden Party is a hidden track on Wish You Were Here. So it's spread about a bit.
Well, they know we'll buy them all, so it's all right.
It's good though because I fell down a bit of a rabbit hole today, and after watching the Marbles tracks from the 2003 weekend on the Marbles on the Road DVD, I then proceeded to watch the entire 2 discs of Marbles on the Road. And on the album EPK, they've actually got clips from the Butlins performances, which I thought was actually quite neat, really.
Yeah, very good. There was an after show party in the main hall till 1 o'clock, so I think all the bars stayed open. And it sounds to me like Mikey and Dobby went for it.
Yeah, we did.
Fraser, were you there with your then girlfriend?
Yes. Well, I was all hucked up after the previous one, wasn't
Yeah,
it? So,
yeah.
yeah. So it was me and Kate, and then a couple of good mates from home and everything. I don't recall doing much of the after show type stuff. I don't think we went. I think we probably went to somebody's chalet and weren't particularly
Yes, I have a feeling we
raucous,
did
actually.
something similar at that point. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think we went back to Mark and Pam's chalet, I think.
Probably, yeah, yeah. Darren, who were you there with?
Oh, I think I was there with everybody.
Sorry.
Yeah, we went
Are you admitting something here?
What stays on the road stays at no. We just from the year before we'd done pretty much the same. We went to somebody's chalet. Wine was flowing. I think I was playing again with Rich Harding and Aid Holmes and God, I think Jo McCafferty was there. If you remember her, she did one of the supports on the tour.
Yeah.
I think even Rick Armstrong was there. There's quite a few people poddling around, and I brought my acoustic guitar, and I came with Sean Filkins. You recall used to be in Big Train before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, before David Longdon, and we were there. We were playing some stuff, and I'm not quite sure what time we went to bed, but I think it was about 4 o'clock in the morning. There was plenty of hangovers the next day.
Okay. The Saturday there were 2 signing sessions. Now, it says in the joining instructions that you would have a coloured ticket in your chalet envelope, and that would dictate which of the signing sessions you went to. I can't really remember going to either that year, but
No, I can't either.
I went to one, and you may recall I did the plug. I did the book cover for John's book, and I had the.
You've not mentioned that on here, Darren.
No,
oh, you are. Sorry.
But I had it framed with a little window in to get it signed.
Yeah.
Just a little kind of cutout, and I queued up to have it done. And the band said, "What the hell are you queuing to have this signed for? You should have just come and seen us." I was like, "Okay, I'll remember that next time." But so I've got that signed, and it's mounted up on my hallway. And the only other copy of those test prints is John Collins has somewhere in his loft, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so it was a long queue though. I think we all queued for about an hour.
Well, I think according to the itinerary, I think the quiz was on in the Highwayman at the same time. So were you involved with the web at that point, Fraser? I asked you this last week, but
You did, and I still wasn't quite in the web at this point. It was the October I think I joined, but yeah, I kind of knew all that lot quite well.
this was the year we went to the Highwayman, Craig, and couldn't get a seat, isn't it?
Yeah. So we didn't stay for the quiz this time.
No.
We caught the back end of it, and I don't know if you know, but a few of us took guitars again, and we sat out the back by the lake, and we all sort of played acoustically. Again, Aid, Rich, me, Sean, Jo McCafferty, a few others joined us, playing a few covers, random stuff. And Carl Glover, Marillion's former graphic designer, he was there. I got chatting to him, and he took a load of photos, which he sent to me. God knows where they are now. Pretty cool shots. But it was a really good laid-back afternoon, just mingling with the friends. It was pretty good weather that afternoon, if I remember as well.
I've got vivid memory of kind of calling into that for half an hour or so. I'm pretty sure, recall you all sitting around with the guitars and
Yeah,
stuff.
I remember the guitars.
I remember them lot.
And we had an orchestra of geese behind us as well, if I remember.
And then the doors to the main hall that night. This is Saturday night, opened at 6, and the first support band was Aziz.
We always love a bit of Aziz.
We do. I think this was before, again, probably before his laser gloves, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Was it just him and Dal there?
I think so.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I seem to remember enjoying that.
Yeah. I think
I don't
H
remember much about it, but
H wandered on and did really like with him, according to Setlist FM.
right.
The next support act I do remember a little bit more, but that's because he's absolutely bonkers, and that was John Otway.
Yeah, it's funny because I've rewatched the DVD, his performance of House of the Rising Sun, and the funny thing is I remember it being hilarious on the day, but looking back on the DVD, it's a bit more painful watch.
It's better when you're in the room and shouting the responses.
Yeah.
I didn't really know much about him, to be honest. I think
No,
he was no, not really. I mean, I remember he was on didn't he was on the Young Ones, wasn't he? Am I misremembering that?
I don't know.
I
You might be
think
right. I
Young
don't
Ones
know.
somewhere?
I think he was. I think you might be right on that one, Fraser.
Yeah. But didn't know a tremendous amount about him. And one of the people that I was with, Dr. Whams, he kept going on about how funny it was and how he was on some recording of House of the Rising Sun.
Yeah.
And he knew all the call and response stuff backwards, whereas I didn't have a clue. I think the first time you see it, it is pretty funny. I think it's probably declining, with increased viewing. But it was good.
I bought Really
it's
Free
quite
back.
similar.
I bought Really Free back in the day, so I knew Really Free, and he didn't do Beware of the Flowers, which is the B-side, but he did Bunsen Burner, which was, I mean, we could talk a long time about Otway. The Otway documentary is really good. If you've never seen it, highly recommend the John Otway documentary.
But he was charming though, wasn't he? He really
He's
was
mad. He comes
Yeah.
across as a mad professor, you know.
But a year later, in the band I was in, we supported John Otway at the Aylesbury, one of the music festivals in Aylesbury.
Yeah.
He was headlining. We were part of the bill, and I was backstage with him, and he was with his mum, I think, just sort of in a corner, and I went over to speak to him, and he was like, oh, "Hello," and yeah, I was like, just really taken aback.
Obviously, comes alive on stage.
I was going to say, I first saw him when I first came to university in Birmingham, and he played the Student Union in 1988, and I was gobsmacked because he was playing cricket on stage with a guitar and a microphone, and I don't know, it wasn't Wild Willie Barrett, but it was another guy I was playing with, and he was singing a song, and he'd stop and he'd chuck the microphone across the stage and wallop it with the guitar. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah,
I think
it's unique. It's unique. I'll give him that.
And of course, there's the H connection there, isn't there? That the Europeans, I think it was it the Europeans or was it Harlow? I think it was Europeans.
Europeans,
And they were the band behind the curtain on the All Balls and No Willie tour, I think is correct.
Yeah,
they were his backing band. They recorded the album.
We did. Yeah.
Mm.
And the other, well, actually, Otway was the last support before Marillion came on. I've missed out. Martin Gretsch.
What you missed one.
I don't really know what to say about Martin Gretsch.
Wasn't that Simon Clark's fault?
I think Simon was a big fan.
Yeah,
John Collins was a big fan, I remember.
Yeah, I was quite a big fan as well because he's a local lad.
Right.
And I used to see him gigging around the pubs of town before he even got a deal and stuff. But at that point, because I know everybody was like, what the hell is this? Because I've spoken to, I think, most people. He had an album out the year before, Open Heart Zoo, which is fantastic. It's a brilliant album. But he then was in the midst of writing his second album, which he wanted to be far, far heavier, and got far, far heavier. Because I've seen him do acoustic gigs in small venues in Aylesbury, and he's got an amazing voice. He was doing Jeff Buckley covers and Radiohead's, he's got that pitch. So I think when he hit in 2003, what you guys got to see him was the heavy, proper, almost metally version of Martin Grech, which I guess he didn't go down very
I don't
well.
recall it being very well received.
No, didn't he just, was it 2002 where he had a song on was it a car commercial or something?
Car commercial. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on a Volvo or was it Audi or something. That was from Open Heart Zoo. Yeah, that was from his
sort of driving
album.
around sort of European city in the rain, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But it's funny because every song started out quite quiet and then got a bit louder. And his voice got louder and louder and louder and higher pitches as each song went through. He could like plot it on a graph.
He definitely had that sort of Buckley-esque thing, but he also went quite atonal at places. And I seem to, maybe I misremember this, but I felt like he took against the audience slightly.
He didn't. We didn't warm to him, and he didn't seem to make a lot of effort to win us over either.
He's another really shy guy. So he's really shy. So that's probably what comes across. Because even in small venues, he's really quite shy.
I think it helped Otway in the end because we were just so pleased.
Light relief.
That Martin Grech had gone off and Otway was on with his lunacy.
Another interesting fact, which I think they did play a little set, his backing band was a band called Cordisto at the time.
Yes.
And I think they played at another point. But they also but they also played another weekend under another name because they got quite bigger after that because they renamed themselves Sweet Billy Pilgrim.
All right, did they? Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
I was at school with two of them. That's the Aylesbury connections for you.
Yes. we should interview about all the support bands. And at 9:30, Marillion. I mean, it's called pop. It was released as popular music, but what did we? I mean, it was the top 10 songs that had been voted for by the fans, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was an online poll where they asked for everybody to rank songs.
I find that very hard to believe.
You mean you think it might have been slightly fooged?
I think a certain G song got taken out, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't possibly comment.
I mean, after track one, that was me done. I was happy. So anything else after that was a bonus. But to have When I Meet God in, when there's so much other stuff that I would deem to be more popular from Anorak.
Well, do you want to go through the set list, Mikey?
Yeah, so a few words from the dead. Yay! Brilliant.
Go on, John, have a whinge about a few words for the dead.
Well, in the same way that Mikey doesn't understand why When I Meet God is in the top 10, why is that in the top 10?
Well, I think that's why I wasn't invited to the radiation episode, but there we go. Then they played Dryland. Absolutely brilliant. When I Meet God, and I wasn't dissing it, because I do love the track. I love all of Anorak. It's just, I think, I'm not quite sure why that would hit other tracks on the album. Then we go into White Russian. Fantastic version of it, and I think H sings it brilliantly. Then we got Estonia. And quite rightly, I think that definitely should have been in there. Then we go into the This Town trilogy, and we end disc 1 on the Racket 25 release with Sugar Mice, which again is one of them ones that I think Steve Hogarth makes his own when he sings it. That he doesn't take a rain check at the end.
Yeah, can I add into this version of Sugar Mice? I will hold my hands up, and H actually sings about 95% of it.
He sings more of this than what he does script.
So he doesn't sing all of it, but this version, yeah, he actually sings most of it. So I'll hold my hands up because I always have a bitch about never singing all of it.
Absolutely. So going on to disc 2 on the Racket 25 release, you've got Berlin. Again, fantastic track, but I think there's others from that album other than the one that's involved later on, that would have been higher up the voting list for me, but never mind. Then you've got One Wet Circles, followed by That Time of the Night, the two tracks together. Then Script for a Jester's Tear, which I remember moving around quite a lot in the audience. I think I was one of those moments where you lift your feet and you travel about 30 foot in either direction.
Yeah.
As soon as the swings and roundabouts clapping starts, honestly, the place went up. And it's never been a favorite track of mine. But the atmosphere in that place when that came on it just blew the roof off. It was
I
fantastic.
think it had been quite a while since it had been played.
Yeah.
Oh, dare say.
Yeah, definitely.
And then because I think
Setlist FM claims it was the first time since '92.
Yeah, that would be about right. Yeah.
Then they totally redeemed themselves with This Strange Engine. And it's a really nice long 20-minute version, and H kind of thanks the audience for being there, and it's a really nice intimate moment where he's like dreaming up lyrics and telling us how he feels about being there. It's lovely. And the end with the space. I mean, what's not to love? As a set list, it's
Sorry, you've missed out Cover My Eyes.
Did I?
It's not on the. It's not.
It's not on the CD.
It's not on the DVD either.
It is on the DVD. It's a bonus. It's the bonus on disc 1.
Where does that sit then?
It's the second. The first encore was TSC. Second encore was Cover My Eyes. Third encore was A Space.
Obviously, wasn't enough room on the CD then.
Version. It is a bit of a ropey version.
It is. It is.
Interestingly, you mentioned the long version of this Strange Engine. Did anybody notice when he's going into this impromptu bit? It's sort of there's almost a taste of No Such Thing in there, which is a later release. There's no such thing as a winnable war. There's no such thing, and it sort of a bit of a heart to when you listen to it, you think I've heard those lyrics, but not at this time in life. It's a bit timey-wimey.
It's a bit germ of an idea.
It was, yeah. You listen to it; it's definitely the germ. He must have been playing with those lyrics before somewhere else years before, and I think they had a bit of an airing here.
James, have you ever come across them in a previous version?
I was just trying to think. He does do snatches of lyrics of trying things that either are in his head or stuff that albums before. So that's quite possible.
But, yeah.
What I like on that, I think it's a really good. It's a bit slow starting, and then sort of from White Russian onwards gets picked up. What I really like is Ian does his drum solo in the middle of the Rake's Progress, which he doesn't always do, which is really good.
I think it's a cracking set list, to be honest with you. It was a great release as a CD, and then it's the absolute star of the Wish You Were Here DVD box because
definitely
it has got a surround mix on it, but it's not really true surround. It's a racket first attempt at surround type mix. Some of what Mikey was saying about AOS with Kelly's keyboards, if you play the surround mix, you can't hear the keyboards at all. But if you flick it back to stereo, you can hear it. So it's great that they've had a go at that. But it's the best film of the first two weekends for me is the Popular Music one. It looks best. The Boom Boom Boys were starting to get to grips with how their style was developing. It looks slightly lighter than the Before First Light one for me. So I don't know whether they tweaked the lighting, because the lighting was quite basic on the stage. Lots of reds on the Before First Light, and then they changed it up to some whites and some blues for the following night. So that might have been a coincidence, or I don't know whether it was a deliberate move to do something that was more pleasing for the DVD or for the cameras.
I think you can. Yeah, I think there's a lot of watching it earlier today. There was a lot of blues, which I think you see again on the Marbles on the Road video. A lot of that is songs with that blue hue. They still got that sort of soft focus, and it's interesting compared to the 2002 to 2003 because the cameras are all at the back of the hall.
Yeah.
or the wherever the one side, and they're using more sort of GoPros on. There's one on Mark, there's one on Ian, and that sort of brings it a bit more towards what Tim does and has done with Toward Infinity. So yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I mean, they're still doing their strange singer off to the left-hand side of the screen. You know, all of that thing's still going on, but I'm just glad they did it because we wouldn't have these at all if they weren't doing it. So fair play to them. Fair play to them.
The one thing I've
I
noticed
think it,
when you said let's do this podcast, do your research to go and investigate the amount of releases that have come out of that weekend and re-releases, it's staggering. There's 7 or 8 physical releases just from that weekend alone in various formats.
And yet,
That's it.
we've never got the one thing that I would love is the whole weekend in a box. Just one box per weekend, all the audio on the CDs, DVDs. But no, I've never done that. But you know, but obviously they couldn't do it this weekend because they were going for the world record with Before First Light, weren't they?
Yeah.
And obviously glossing over Mikey's horrific hangover from Saturday night, it will have been. And Darren probably staying up till the early hours of Sunday morning again, playing guitar
as well.
On to the Sunday. And at 2 o'clock, the doors to the main hall open. Question and answer session with Marillion, which is on the Wish You Were Here DVD.
Yep.
And during the question and answer session, the Before First Light DVDs arrive on site. And I think is it one of the Johns tells a story about it in the Q&A as well, didn't he? In the Talking Heads interviews on Disc 4,
there's a bit
John Precious, I think, talks about being one of the first people to buy it, but you'll have to go and find that out.
Yes.
And after the Q&A, there was something called Swap the Band, Darren, wasn't there?
Can't remember.
Can you not? I'm sure I've seen you with a T-shirt of it. Or was it a placard?
Shall I tell my little story then?
Come on, tell your story.
Okay. I sort of touched a little bit on it when I interviewed you and we did that thing about 6 months ago. But anyway, I watched Swap the Band the first year round at Pontins, and I was jealous I wasn't part of it because I didn't bother entering, and I entered this time, and I was gobsmacked to get the email from Colin saying you've won, you're going to be playing Kaylee, and I was like, wow. But the benefit of that is we were invited to the sound check, and we had to get up and play a sound check first. Now we were in there for quite a few hours waiting for Marillion to turn up, and H's daughters were running around. And anyway, by the time I got to my sound check, I was very, very nervous. And I got to play with the band, and the sound check went really well. A couple of little fluffs, but it was really good. And all the band stopped after, come up and shook my hand and said, oh, that was really good, because I sort of did a bit of a reinterpretation of Steve's guitar solo, added a few sort of Malmsteen hanger-ons in the middle of it, sped it up a bit. But I've got some really great footage, and here's a little side story. My brother's camcorder broke before we went there, and he wanted to record me playing with Marillion. So he bought a brand new camcorder. He recorded just about all the weekend, including the performances, the warm-ups. But by the time I got in the main performance, the battery died about 10 seconds into my performance. So anyway, my main performance went down fantastically. I got to play Kaylee. The audience were phenomenal. The cheer just lifted your heart. It was such a rewarding thing, and I'd gone from being so anxious and nervous to being over the moon. And to say this wasn't a childhood dream come true would be an underestimation of it. You know, being my favourite band, coming from Aylesbury, living with their music for sort of best part of 10 years, and to get to play with them and meet them was just phenomenal. So that was great fun. And I've
also to play like an iconic song as well.
Well, yeah.
Iconic solo.
Initially, I was a bit disappointed that I got chosen to play Kaylee because I really wanted to do Splintering Heart because that's a bit more challenging and longer. But in hindsight, you know, the amount of people I say, oh, I'll play, I know that song. Whereas if I'd have gone to Tom, Dick and Harry on the street, oh, yeah, I played Splintering Heart. Oh, I don't know that one. But, yeah. I mean, it's
I do think the audience really sort of, when you started messing with the solo and were you doing two-handed tapping and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the audience really went with that, didn't they? I seem to remember going, "Oh, that's amazing! Fancy daring to mess with that." But actually, it was really good. It was
Well,
terrific.
it didn't change the solo structure as such. It's just
No,
more an interpretation, adding bits into it to throw it up a bit. I thought, what's the point?
no, it was genuinely really good. I hate to tell you, but it was really good.
It was
He
really
loves it. He
devastating.
loves it, Fraser. Just tell him some more. It's all right.
All the swap the band members were there, and there was a real good camaraderie amongst us all. And we've stayed friends. Some of them, Michelle Aragon, we did the Swappers 11 thing together. I've kept in contact with a few of the others, Richarding, and yeah. So it was a really good thing. I've got a really good video of my brother where Steve Hogarth was there was a chap called Derek Cheetham doing court singing, but Steve Hogarth's walking around the audience jamming with his little cricket bat and sticking his tongue out and dancing around my brother, all caught on video camera. And I should share it one day. It's really good. But it was just such a brilliant day. Really good.
It was a good set list. There's eight songs that had guests on. There's Cover My Eyes, Quartz, Kaylee, A Collection, Map of the World, Alone Again in the Lap of Luxury with Tom Vance on guitar.
Oh yeah,
Legend that
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Yeah. Incommunicado and The Space, which Matt Coffey came back again for.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Matt Coffey was back for the second year.
Sold
And then-
another drum kit.
Or his house, yeah, I don't know.
Or a kidney.
And then we got something called Marillion Jambalaya, apparently.
Oh, that was brilliant.
Born to be Wild with John Otway. You Really Got Me, Kinks cover. Fake Plastic Trees, Radiohead with Gazpacho. And then there is Wish You Were Here, it finished with, but that's on the DVD, isn't it, as a Easter egg, Craig?
Yeah, it's a hidden track.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah, it's a fairly loose version, let's say.
To say the
Steve,
least.
He gives up, doesn't he? And said, "You sing it."
Yeah, yeah,
And we did.
yeah. And then they wheeled out Angelina and Neverland again as an encore. But that was the Saturday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon, sorry. Sunday afternoon, beg your pardon. Yeah, Sunday afternoon. And then there was another signing session between 5 and 6. And it was the end of convention party with Kid Galahad at 8 o'clock and Stranger by the Minute at 9:30, which was, I think, had Marillion guests coming in and out of it, didn't it?
Yes.
It's Brothers and Pete.
Stranger.
Yeah.
A Stranger by the Minute was Rother's fairly short-lived like little supergroup thing where he used to want to go out and just have some fun with like covers and things.
Yeah. And then all it says something I'd say to me is depart Butlins at 10 o'clock. But that was Monday morning. So they'd extended it. We weren't leaving at lunchtime on Sunday this time, so it was a full 3 days. But it was certainly an upgrade from what we'd had the previous year.
Yeah, it was really good. I listened to the podcast about the Pontins thing, and of course there was a lot of criticism about the accommodation, but I didn't take that away. But there was certainly a lift up in the whole experience with Butlins. Everything was a lot better, a lot more polished. It was a longer weekend, even the few hours either side of it, and able to stay over the night. It was brilliant, and I know they do this fantastic thing in Port Zeelander. And I know there's talk about it being more expensive in this country, but I would so much love to have another full-on residential UK weekend. It was just brilliant. I know you say it's never going to happen, but
It isn't going to happen. Lucy said they can't. The price is just ridiculous.
I get that. But what a weekend that was.
Have you ever been to Port Zealand?
No, I can never afford time or money or the kids at school or whatever like this.
Yeah,
us mere mortals.
Yeah. The thing is that the Butlins experience now, it's funny because if you look back when we were there in 2003, they used to have themed weekends, but this was before they did all of like the weekender things where you had your 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s weekenders, and you start to have bigger gigs, and hence, a few years after we left Minehead, they actually built a purpose-built arena in there, which is about a 5,000 capacity. So it means that if we actually did go back to Butlins at some point, you wouldn't have to share the camp with anybody else. You could have, 5,000 Marillion fans there at the purpose-built arena, but it's just not feasible for the costings for what Lucy and the guys are happy with compared to what we actually get at PZ. So
they've been spoiled.
I've definitely been spoiled. So it's funny. So you kind of think of, was Marillion also one of the reasons where they saw something lucrative for their business model at Butlins and other bands following to do something similar to help them in the out of season times and weekends where they can fill the camp up with different kind of guests?
Yeah, I think they must have done, because when you look at it, I mean, we in particular as a fan base, obviously we're pretty well behaved by and large, and we drink an enormous amount of booze, so it's an absolute win-win for them.
Yeah. Fair point. Did we have T-shirts this year, Craig? I can't remember.
We did. We had our Good Morning Campers T-shirt with Barry in a yellow coat with the xylophone, Heidi.
That's right. Yeah. The Cakey Boys used to do T-shirts early on, didn't we? Yes. Before Mark did it for a living.
Yeah.
But any other sort of overriding memories of the 2003 weekend, boys?
Well, I've got one little story.
Yeah.
I was looking through some of the old interviews on the Wish You Were Here DVD and thoughts and memories of the various weekends. Some are from the previous weekend, some are from this weekend, and there's some really young people in there.
There's a lot of familiar faces on there.
Yeah, I saw John Collins very young, and I sent him a picture of it, and I got a reply saying, "What the fuck is that from?" I said, "Yeah, Puppy Eyes." There's a very early one of Franz Keeler talking about, and then there's one of Georgina Wistow as well, and I sent her saying, "God, look how young you look," and she sent me some funny things, and she talked about the thieves that weekend. And she said her and Lucy booked a couple of tricycles, and then she went out to collect them, and she saw two fellas, one by the name of Mezra and Craig, disappearing off on their tricycles. Anything you can say?
Couldn't possibly comment.
No.
But no, it was really...
In the words of Shaggy, wasn't me. It was a great weekend. Mikey, can you remember? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, the Popular Music CD, the front cover, I actually climbed that hill. It was on the Sunday afternoon, hanging out my arse, and just went for a long walk with my partner at the time, and we ended up this trail, and we saw these bungalows and some really nice houses up it. So we're going to have a bit neb. So yeah, when you got that CD, I was like, oh yeah, I remember the view of the park from there. It was a really nice touch. I do have a gripe about this CD, and I don't know if it's just
you surprise me, Mikey. It's not like you have a gripe about CD.
Track 1 glitches. It plays 25 seconds of a few words for the dead, then it stops for 15 seconds of silence, then it starts from the beginning again. So I don't know if it's just my copy, or whether it's
I don't recall mine
copies of Racket 25, but yeah. And I found out today, after 23 years or whatever it is, being on a shelf, that everybody who was at the 2003 convention have their names on the credits of the DVD at the end. And obviously, me being me, it was like, oh, program's finished, switch the Blu-ray off. And I never sat through the credits, and I had no need to. And I was like, I'd been on Discogs earlier on today and was looking down the track list, and it was like, it mentioned like people's names being printed on it, and I was, is there? So I sat and watched that for the first time while the demo version of Afraid of Sunlight plays in the background, and lo and behold, there must have been, there must have been more people at this. Yeah, so literally thousands of names mentioned on the end of the DVD, which I think is a really, really nice touch. They didn't have to do that.
No.
It's one thing to put them in printed booklets on, pre-orders campaigns, but at the end of a DVD, I think that's a really, really nice touch.
It also could be a bit dodgy as well, a bit like the Coldplay kiss cam with somebody's other half watching. Hold on, I recognise that name. What's she doing there?
Well, John's on every bloody release there is, so
That's true. You know.
In years to come, somebody will listen to this podcast and go, "What the hell's the Coldplay kiss cam?"
Yeah, true, true.
But well, if you want to date this podcast, it's the day that Ozzy Osbourne died.
Yes, which
yes,
is
sad
yeah,
day,
that's
sad day.
really sad day. Really sad day. But at least he got to play his final show.
Yeah, just up the
So-
road.
And
But the weekend after he went to a Comic-Con with
yes, do a signing
got
session
him
with
working
family.
again.
God.
But it's a sad day for rock and roll.
Yeah.
Proper legend.
Definitely. Oh, what a bombshell that is to end on, isn't it?
Sorry.
But I just want to thank James Levey,
Pleasure as always.
Goodbye.
Fraser Marshall,
You're welcome.
Darren Newitt,
Bye-bye.
Mikey Kay,
Catch you later, guys.
and my other half, Craig.
Goodbye. Thank you, young sir.
Thanks for listening to this. If you were at the 2003 weekend, why not go onto our Facebook group and tell us about your recollections of the weekend? All that
And
remains,
if you ended up divorced because you were with somebody
Yes,
that you
yeah.
shouldn't have been.
the bits that you can put online, let's say.
Yeah, the lawyers are watching.
Thanks for listening. It's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
Go on, Mikey, you can do it.
And stay alive.
Hey.
Yay.
Well, if you're feeling lonely and getting in a stew, just bend your ear, come over here, and man, here's what you do. If you got the blues, I got some news. Join in the fun in your blue suede shoes on the holiday rock. Holiday rock. Holly, holly, hidey, hi, holiday rock. Hidey, hidey, hi. Holly, holly, ho. Go, go, go to the holiday rock. Hidey, hidey, hi. Holly, holly, ho. Go, go, go to the holiday rock.
Thanks for listening to Planet Marzipan Podcast. Please like and subscribe from whichever platform you get your podcasts from. You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com and check out marillion.com, fishmusic.scot for more.